What's going on, moviegoers? If you're new to the channel, my name is Christian. Welcome to Zero Productions. Continuing on the Godzilla hype train, you guys. I finally saw Godzilla -1. And let me tell you guys something. Boy, oh boy, you must go see this. It's one of the best films of the year. It was so well written. Godzilla was terrifying in this movie. You guys, everything from the characters, the visual effects, the story, the writing was so well made. I tip my hats off to everybody involved in making this movie for only $15 million. The visual effects were some of the best I've seen all year. Way better than The Flash, way better than the Marvels, which both of those films had well over $200 million in budget. Kind of crazy to me. Godzilla -1, you guys, has really set the standard for these monster movies. Honestly, because before I would go into these monster movies not really caring about the human characters. I was like, okay, this is a popcorn flick for me. I want to see monsters fight. That's what I want to see. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, phenomenal trailer. But I want to go see monsters fight. I don't care about the human characters. Never have, never will. I mean, honestly, if we're talking about, out of all the monster movies that we've seen over the course of the last 6 years, I think Kong Skull Island had the most interesting human characters out of all these monster movies. So what this film really established was this is a film first, other than a Godzilla movie. And the character development and the character arcs were so great. The character themes of PTSD, being in the war, love, regret, family, purpose, all of those themes were so heavily played into the film in such a great, unique way. It made me so emotional. I have never gotten emotional in any monster movie. This film, I got choked up multiple times. Because why? I was invested in the story. I was invested in the main characters and side characters. The main character was a kamikaze pilot who abandoned his post. Because essentially, you're a suicide pilot. That shit is terrifying. It's either you do or you don't. And he abandoned his post. And that first interaction, the main character, forgive me, I'm terrible with names. That first interaction he had with Godzilla on that island with the rest of the guys, the rest of the engineers, was terrifying. Terrifying. I have never felt scared of Godzilla in my life. But this film felt like a horror film. Whenever Godzilla appeared, it was scary as hell. Really scary, you guys. I cannot undermine that. It was terrifying. The main character just really had you invested in every step of the way of his journey, right? Landing on the island, encountering the engineers, getting the engineers killed because he was too afraid to go after the pilot and shoot the gun. Smart move, because that gun would have did nothing to Godzilla. Leaving that, returning home, being called a coward, trying to reestablish yourself in society, right? Yes.
Baby.
Yeah, baby. Trying to reestablish yourself in society, trying to build your foundation again, right? Trying to get a job, trying to make a livable wage. Encountering this random woman and this random child, taking them in under your wing, under your house. It was so heartfelt. I was like, man, this is genuinely a story about a war person before a Godzilla movie. And that is what was so interesting to me. And I think that's where a lot of fans are able to connect with this film more than any other monster movie. It was great. And seeing his redemption arc was even more fascinating. It was cool. I just, like, from start to finish, you guys, I was just so impressed with this movie. So impressed. The writing was some of the best writing for any characters I've seen all year. Mom's not here. Go sit down, please. I was so invested, you guys. I can't express this enough. Can't express it enough. And then when he kind of found the camaraderie of his new coworkers and stuff like that, those side characters were so great and so intriguing as well. I genuinely loved everybody in this movie. Everybody. Because they were just so relatable, and you could attach to these characters like you haven't been able to attach in any other monster movie or for any other human characters at all. Like, at all, you guys. And then when the conflict arose, when you got to see Godzilla, and man, his presence on screen was terrifying. The visual effects, the way his atomic breath worked, it looked like a nuclear bomb, and how powerful he was. He was extremely powerful. Like when he went full atomic breath, get out of the way. Like when he finally got into Tokyo and he was wreaking havoc, my God, it was crazy. The amount of damage he did. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit. Like it really, like this film was on a much smaller scale, but it put it in such a massive perspective of just how crazy, Godzilla is when evolving around his power and his size. He's just he's on a mission when he's landing on land, and it's terrifying, and the relationships that the main character and his roommate, so to say, or his love interest, right, and his adopted daughter, it was so beautiful to see them kind of rebuild and see them, kind of build this family together, building their home, reestablishing themselves. Seeing the daughter grow up was so beautiful to see. Like, it was so beautiful. I can't stress this enough. That's some of the best moments in this film was, those three, that family. It was so beautiful, you guys. And then, of course, you have the storyline of him getting a new job. But obviously, this job entails a very scary and dangerous job because you're going after Godzilla, essentially, by, what's the word I'm looking for? Completely drawn a blank on this word. Oh my God. By, getting rid of these bombs, right? These mines in the oceans, right? And then they encounter Godzilla again. And it's by means, it's not a fun thing. You're putting your life on the line. And then once Godzilla was established as more than being a lore and everybody found out about him, it was like, okay, well, what can we do to stop Godzilla? And after the whole Tokyo incident and, of Godzilla, killing his wife or whatever. Oh my God, it was just so I was just heartbroken. I was heartbroken because I felt for him. He kept losing and losing because of this Godzilla. And he was sick of that shit. So when he got down on his knees and he was screaming and he was mad and he was frustrated and he was angry, you felt the rage and pain behind this man's eyes. You did. And especially because, he didn't get to marry her, right? That's the whole thing. Like, that was the perfect family, but he wasn't ready yet because his war wasn't over yet. He was still dealing with his war, and that was Godzilla. And by the third act of this movie, man, and the whole town comes, and the whole city, the whole country comes together on how to, stop Godzilla, and they're planning this master plan. It was just so awesome to see everybody come together and come up with this crazy ass plan that, essentially did work, but didn't work, but then it did work, and then, he's like, you know what, I'm going to need, a plane. I'm going to finish out my war. I'm going to finish out my mission, because like I said at the beginning of this video, he was a kamikaze pilot. So he had the intentions of finishing out what he established to do when joining the war. He was going to sacrifice himself. That whole moment, that whole arc was like, holy shit, dude. It's coming full circle. And it was great. Even coming full circle to finding that engineer who survived at the beginning of the island in that first Godzilla incident. That coming full circle. Him writing him letters, talking shit because he wanted to find him because he was the only engineer who could fix this prototype plane. That whole story, it just kept building and building. And I was just like, oh my God, I can definitely get behind this story. And essentially, you guys, when they defeated Godzilla and, he hit that eject button because that engineer, had told him, yo, there's an eject button in the back of your seat. Live. You don't have to die. Live. Oh my God. And I kind of saw it because when he was talking to him in the plane, the camera kind of went away from it, right? And you didn't really get to hear what he was telling him, but I kind of knew. I was like, okay, there has to be some kind of an eject button to get him out of there just in time. And that's what happened. And then by the end of the movie, you guys, my God, man, when he got reunited with his daughter and he found out that his future wife or future girlfriend was still alive, that was even more heartfelt because I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him. I was like, yes, keep going, keep going. You know, he finally finished his war. That's essentially what it was. He finally finished his war and he defeated Godzilla, so to say, because at the end of the movie, you know, this Godzilla can, you know, regenerate. So he was very much alive, growing back into his Godzilla form. So I was like, oh, damn it. All of that for nothing. But like I said, I was thoroughly impressed with this film, not just because of the visuals, not just because of Godzilla, because of the characters and the story and the way things were written, the dialogue. Everything was so damn good from top to bottom, you guys. It checked everything off my box. There were literally no flaws with this movie. I don't think there's any flaws I can find with Godzilla Minus One. That's how much I really enjoyed this film. Like I said, it might be the best film of the year. It might be the best Godzilla movie of all time. All time. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought about Godzilla Minus One. Thoughts and opinions, you guys. Where do you rank it in your Godzilla franchise? And please, post your comments down below. And thank you for taking time out of your day for watching Zero Productions. Peace.